Hello dear students, this is Raksha Shetty and you're watching Edubassa, your homely learning channel. So in the last video we learned about the human brain, their parts as well as their functions. Today in this video we'll be concentrating on the plants. Until now we learned about animals, and now today onwards in the sense in this video we are going to learn about what? The plants, which is the coordination in the plant. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So these are the contents. So we'll be learning about the introduction part, immediate response to stimulus, tropic movements, type of tropic movements, limitations of electrical impulses as well as plant hormones. Yes. First is coordination in plants. You all know that the human beings have nervous system as well as muscles, whereas the plants do not have the nervous system and muscles. Yet they respond to stimuli, isn't it? Stimuli we already know. So what are the stimuli? Stimuli might be light, might be heat, might be might be water, etc. Okay, so what happens is nothing but might be touch also. So I will tell you. See, the plants respond to stimuli even without what nervous system and muscles. The animals do have nervous system as well as muscles, but the plants do not have the nervous system and muscles, but they do respond to the stimuli. They do undergo the movements. So basically there are two types of movements. One is growth dependent movements, one more is growth independent movement. As the name itself says, growth dependent movement. Growth dependent movement is nothing but here it is related to growth in the sense the movement of the plant taking place, that is nothing but the growth. Okay, so growth independent in the sense it is not related to growth, in the sense the movement is taking place but it is not the growth. With example you will understand better. So this is the introduction part of it. As we have discussed earlier, the animals have nervous system as well as muscles, but the plants do not have nervous system as well as muscles, but yet they show what? They show the response to stimulus. For example, Mimosa pudica, which is nothing but touch me not plant. So when I touch the touch me not plant, what happens? It suddenly shies, isn't it? It undergoes the folding of the leaves when you touch, isn't it? So what happens? It is very much sensitive to that of the touch. For that reason it folds the leaves when touched. Yes. So this is the immediate response to stimulus. So immediate response to stimulus. Now tell me whether it is a growth dependent movement or the growth independent movement. Yes, growth independent movement. Immediate response. If it is growth, in the sense it needs a lot of time to undergo the movement, because growth needs time, whereas this is taking place immediately, just like reflex action was taking place in the human beings immediately. Okay, for example, the mimosa itself, the touch me not plant, when I touch the touch me not plant, what happens? It suddenly closes its leaves and it bends, isn't it? So that is basically not related to growth. This is what? Not related to growth. First type of movement we already discussed here, isn't it? Second type of movement which we discussed, growth independent movement. So this is the growth independent movement. It is not related to growth. So wherever I touch the touch me not plant, what happens is nothing but the signal is going to pass. Which signal? Electrochemical signal. Just like human beings, the electrochemical signal is going to pass from cell to cell. It is going to transfer from cell to cell. So how it is going to change their shape of the leaves, in the sense they are going to bend, isn't it? How exactly? Is nothing but what in the plant cells, when you touch, it is very sensitive to touch, isn't it? So what happens? Whatever water present in the cells will be moving out, and which results in the shrinking. So after some time again, what happens? The water will get in and it results in the swelling. So this is the resulting of the quick folding of the leaves. I will explain you with the picture. So I will be touching here. So what happens when I touch here? The electrochemical signal will be passed to all of the cells, which results, the signal will be passed to all of the cells. If it is folded here, the entire this thing will be folded. Okay. The folding, how it takes place is nothing but the cells will be present here, isn't it? The cells will be present here. It is very sensitive to touch. When I touch this, the water from the cells will move out, results in the shrinking, and hence what happens? The folding of the leaves will take place. Okay, then again here fold, the electrochemical will be passed and all of these leaves will be folded, and since because of the weightage it is drooped. Okay, just like this, bending of the leaves is going to take place. Clear? I hope it is clear. See, So first the undisturbed mimosa plant will be like this. So when you touch it becomes like this. So after some time, whatever the folded this leaves are there, after some time again it regains back to its original position just like this. Why? Because again water from the environment will enter to the cells, and what happens? The cells will bulge. Okay, the cells will bulge. So that is what is going to take place. Fine. The types of the tropic movements. Until now you learnt about the immediate response. This is the growth related movement. Okay, so this one is growth growth independent movement, and this one is growth dependent movement. So there are several types of growth dependent movement. One is phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, and chemotropism and thigmotropism. We will learn one by one. First one is phototropism. Phototropism will respond to light, in the sense the movement of the plant is going to take place wherever the light is present. The growth is going to take place wherever the light is present. That is phototropism. For example, if I take the example of this plant, just imagine this is a plant. So this plant is going to always bend wherever the sun is present. Okay, I can give you the example of sunflower. Sunflower always faces wherever the sunlight is present. So it faces wherever the light is present. So mainly shoot part will always be facing towards that of the light. So that shows what phototropism. So since it is always facing towards that of the light, it shows positive phototropism. Now talking about the root cannot it doesn't bend towards that of the light, so hence it shows a negative phototropism. It do not bend towards that of the light, so it shows negative phototropism. Now what about root? Which tropism it shows? It shows so tropic movements is nothing but tropism. Okay, tropic movements is nothing but tropism. So now tell me, what about the roots? So roots always moves towards that of the gravity. It moves always towards the earth, towards that of the gravity. So it shows what tropism? Geotropism. It shows positive geotropism and negative phototropism. It doesn't show phototropism, hence negative phototropism. Whereas the shoot part shows positive phototropism, but it does not bend towards earth, right? So hence it shows negative geotropism. Which one? Shoot part. Clear? Fine. Next is about the hydrotropism. The movement of the plant takes place wherever the water is present. That is hydrotropism. For example, root always grows wherever the water is present. Okay, fine. Next is chemotropism. The plant grows wherever the chemicals are present. For example, the pollen tube. So just imagine this is stigma. Okay, stigma of the flower. So what happens? About the fertilization, isn't it? The pollen grain will be placed here. So this pollen grain, as soon as it settles at the stigma, it develops a pollen tube. So this pollen tube, where it will reach? It will reach to a place where the ovule is present. Okay, so what happens? Ovule, why it is the pollen tube is going towards that of the ovule? Because in the ovule some chemical is present. So because of that chemical, what happens? This pollen tube will be growing towards this chemical which is present in the ovule. So hence it shows which tropism? Chemotropism. Next is thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is nothing but a response to that of the touch. For example, climbers, tendrils of the climbers. Just imagine creepers, isn't it? So what happens? Just imagine there is one stick over here. So what happens when it touches the stick? It is very sensitive to touch. Hence what happens? The growth will be very slow in this place. But here what happens? The growth will be speed because it is not touching. So it will grow on very speed. But here, since the growth is slow, since it is touching the stick, the growth is very slow. Since the growth is slow, what happens is nothing but it will encircle the stick like this, so hence results in the climbers. Okay, so that is an example for thigmotropism. It is very sensitive to that of the touch. Okay, you can see here phototropism, the plant is bending towards that of the light. Here you can see which tropism, tell me? Yes, hydrotropism. Here the root is growing of the plant is growing towards that of the water. Here which tropism? The root is growing towards that of the gravity, hence the geotropism. Chemotropism, you can see here what happens. The pollen tube is placed on the stigma. This is stigma. So this pollen grain develops a pollen tube like this. You can see over here pollen tube, and that where it reaches to that of the ovule. This is ovule. Okay, one second, you can see over here, this is ovule. So what exactly happens is nothing but this ovule has a chemical. So because of that chemical, what happens is pollen tube grows towards this ovule, so which is showing which tropism? Chemotropism. Thigmotropism, you can see here the tendril of the stem, isn't it? As soon as it touches the plant, the growth will be smaller, slower. So since the growth is smaller, it will encircle like this. Okay, wherever here the growth is speed, so it will grow like that. Yeah, that is Thigmotropism. So until that you learned. Next is about the limitations of the electrical impulses. What are the limitations of the electrical impulses? Okay, so the electrical impulses limitations is nothing but it can reach only to that of the connected cells. Wherever the connected cells are there only what the electrical impulses will be passed, the electrical information, the electrical signal will be passed. So cells again need some time to reset after they take up the impulses, and they cannot generate the impulses continuously for several times. For that reason, what happens, there are hormones are present. Chemical communication is important. That is nothing but with the help of the hormones. In the plant it is plant hormones, in the animals it is animal hormones. Okay, we will learn about plant hormones here. So plant hormones, these are the plant hormones which is mentioned in your NCERT textbook. One is Auxins, Gibberellins, Cytokinins. So this is basically growth promoting hormones. Growth promoting hormones, as the name itself says, growth promoting in the sense it helps in the growth purpose. So what it does is nothing but this auxin, it elongates the cell. So what happens, cell elongation will be taking place, and hence also helps for the phototropism, which we will learn further how exactly. Gibberellins, what it does is nothing but it helps for the growth of the stem, hence obviously helps for the growth. Cytokinin helps for the cell division. After cell division, obviously growth of the plant is going to take place, isn't it? The fruits and the seeds, there also the growth mainly what happens, the cell division is taking place. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibiting hormone. Growth inhibiting hormone in the sense what, it doesn't promote growth, it inhibits the growth, it lessens the growth. Okay, so example is abscisic acid, ABA abscisic acid. Okay, ABA abscisic acid, fine. Okay, so it is a growth inhibitor. So what happens basically is nothing but sometimes the plants, they will not be having much amount of the water. So what happens when they are not having the much amount of the water, they will tend to close the stomata. So what happens, because of the closing of the stomata, the wilting of the leaves, means falling of the leaves, is going to take place, so which inhibits the growth. So basically it what inhibits the growth, which one? Abscisic acid. Next is about the role of auxin. I told you this auxin helps for the cell elongation, right? So phototropism, it is mentioned. I told you I will explain now further. So now I'm going to explain here. So what happens is nothing but just imagine this is the plant, isn't it? So this auxin is present where? Auxin is basically present in the shoot tip. It is present in the shoot tip. What happens is nothing but whenever light falls, it usually moves to the shady region. Wherever the light is not present, to that region it will move. Then what happens, it will elongate the cell there, As a result, what happens, this because of the elongation, this shoot part of the plant will bend where? Towards that of the sunlight, hence helps for which purpose? For the phototropism. Hence helps for which purpose? For the phototropism purpose. Clear? I hope it is clear. So that's about it. Quick revision points we will learn. So you know that plants do not have nerves as well as muscles, yet they respond to that of the stimuli. Two types of movement, one is growth dependent movement and growth independent movement. So growth independent movement example is mimosa pudica. What happens is nothing but the electrochemical signal will be passed from cell to cell. When you touch the cells, what happens, the water from the cell will move out and it will shrink. After some time again the water will move into, and what happens, it will swell. So that is going to take place. That is nothing but quick, not a growth related movement. Tropic movement is nothing but growth related movement, which we all also call it as tropism. So there are several types of tropism. One is phototropism. Phototropism means growth takes place towards that of the light. Geotropism, growth takes place towards that of the gravity. Hydrotropism, growth takes place towards that of the water. Chemotropism, growth takes place towards that of the chemical. Example, pollen tube. In the stigma, the pollen grains will develop a pollen tube that will grow where? Towards that of the ovule. Why? Because in the ovule what is present? Chemical is present. Okay, clear. Next is about the Thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is touch. What happens? The tendrils, stem tendrils will be present as soon as it touches any of the stick or something, anything. What happens? The growth will slow down there. As the growth slow down there, what encircling of this tendril will be slower. So hence, because of the growth is taking place slower there, encircling will be in a slower rate. And what happens here? The growth will be more because it is very sensitive to touch. Fine. Okay. Then electrical impulses is limited in that of the plant, so hence the plant hormones are important. Auxins, Gibberellins and Cytokinins are the growth promoting hormones. Auxins helps for elongation as well as phototropism. Gibberellins helps for the growth of the stem. Cytokinin helps for the cell division. Okay. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibiting hormone. It inhibits the growth as well as helps for the wilting of the leaves. I hope this one is clear. Okay, thank you so much. So that's all about it for today. So let's meet again in the next video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Until then, keep watching, keep learning, and most importantly, enjoy while learning. See you. Bye bye.